So the next one we're going to get into is Lonely, which is already a really heavy title. Nervous going into this, but there was one thing I wanted to mention about change that I kind of thought of when we were changing songs, is that the reason I kept pausing so much was I was getting overwhelmed with how much the song changed.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like clicked, like, not only is he talking about personal change, but he did that musically as well. He just kept changing all these different instruments and different beats and the different flow that he was using. Everything was changing, and it did feel very jarring, like a big change will do to you.
Yeah.
So
and also the line about grief and losing. So like a big grief that's coming, will come to you. I mean, everybody goes through that. He's right. Everybody's going to go through something like that in their lifetime.
Could be the grieving someone, or losing someone, or
loss of self.
The loss of self, or realizing that a big chunk of your life has been lost due to something that, So I just wanted to mention that. So we are going to go ahead and go into Lonely.
Which is also just him by himself.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, he's lonely, so I guess that...
More guitar.
I'm fucking lonely. So fucking lonely. Somebody call me.
I would.
잘나는 영화 속에 담겨졌어. 싫어 이 호텔 룸에 혼자 떴어. 시끄러운 경적 소리 좁아진 방에
Oh. Trapped in myself. Yep.
So many memories are on the floor, and now I hate the cities I don't belong. Just want go back home. I fucking lonely.
We've added a layer into the instrumentation.
So fucking lonely. Somebody call me. Gotta tell you something. 나 모든 게 싫어졌어. Yeah, guess I wasted time. Fucking text and I hasten. 온종일 유튜브, Netflix. 그저 또 phone 속 데이터와 데이터. 매일 아침과 rendezvous. 빨갛게 돌아가는 나의 몰라. Shot a million stars to let you know. So many trivial thoughts are on the floor, and now I hate the buildings I don't even know. Just wanna go back home. I'm fucking lonely. 나 혼자 섬을.
Oh, I like the vocals in the back.
fucking lonely. Somebody call me. I'm fucking lonely. 나 혼자 섬을. So fucking lonely.
What is that sound?
Somebody love me.
Strip it back. Did it sound like in this last line?
Like my heart broke? Yes.
I want to go back a little bit, if I can find it. I thought it sounded like instead of somebody call me, it sounded like somebody love me, but I could be wrong.
So fucking lonely. Somebody love me.
Love me. Says somebody love me. I'm trying to make me cry. I cried in that one.
Yeah, I almost lost it several times in that one.
I think I would have cried more if the song hadn't been just a little bit more upbeat.
It definitely, the lyrics didn't match quite what a lot of the instrumentation does, but it did also still sound very subdued and very, I don't know how to explain it, but the instrumentation still felt very raw, like someone was getting across an emotional message. It just wasn't as like maybe sad or dark as you would have thought for the lyrics, which is actually kind of...
Seems like he's in such a place where he's unmotivated and he doesn't know what to do, and he's lonely and he doesn't think anyone loves him or no one's talking to him, and he's just isolating himself.
He doesn't really want to do it
or anymore. Isolated. And he doesn't like him saying that he doesn't like care for the city anymore. He just wants to go home. I mean, that's kind of hits hard because he's such a, he's such an extrovert that he said before that loves to just go out and do whatever,
Well, and I think this one, they've all meant something to me in very different ways, which we can kind of try to talk about at the end. But like this one especially, I felt like was Namjoon on his journey. But I also felt like this could go to someone else who feels like, like when you go to a crowd of people and you feel like you're the only one that's there and you just want to go home, or like the person who feels like they're the third wheel with their friends or with something like that. Like this could go to so many people who feel lonely in so many different ways. I just kind of kept thinking of different situations where I have felt.
I was gonna say, me too.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you just see your own story in his lyrics, so which is great. But at the same time, I hate this because I don't hate it, but I hate this because I just hate feeling that, or hate knowing he's felt like this. But I mean, haven't we all? But it just hurts,
It does. It hurts because it's a mirror for himself, but he's also turning that mirror on us, and we get to look back at it too.
Someone call him.
If I had his number, I would.
Call him.
Okay.
Tell him we love him.
We love you, Namjoon. So let's go ahead to our next one. Hectic is the next one that we are going to listen to. So now we're back with a feature. We've got RM and Colde. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's what I think. But Hectic, very interesting coming from Lonely.
We've had some hectic noises in here. That's for sure.
He's definitely had a lot of intentional chaos going on with his instrumentation, which I cannot even begin to imagine what the production, how that would have gone, the process, because it all works very well. It's all very intentional. So I'm curious to see where we're going with Hectic.
No, we're good. I'm scared. It already sounds a lot more hectic.
That was nothing will matter if I can just find a reason to keep this endless chase.
Ooh.
Yes, I was a actor. That was nothing will matter.
There's no reason to begin
this feels very more like ethereal, mystic. There go the memories of yourself again. Ooh. We've added in some other instruments.
These songs have no right being so vibey with the lyrics, okay?
Like I'm jamming out.
Like a sad jam.
It's a sad jam.
I was going to say it seems like his life has just kind of lost a direction and a flavor or a color. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing romantic anymore. It's all just hectic.
It's just hectic. It's taxis. It's this. It's movement.
I don't like it anymore, and it's just not. I do like the na-na-nas.
어디로 가는지도 모르게 적어 내려갔던 시도 어느덧 걸어온 그 길이 되었네 지난 기억 속에 더 이상 길을 잃고 싶지 않은 날 좀 구해줘 Make the people talking same shit Hate the reason Got the us if running is a pain How shall we do this game Keep on thinking
Ooh. Ooh, did you hear that drop?
Yeah. The motivation.
I just want my reason back.
There's no motivation.
관능적인 이 도시의 포스처 슬픈 밤 서울을 위한 녹턴 우린 알면서 또 하루를 놓쳐 행복이란 뭘까 그토록 바래왔던 작은 평화 마음이 빛바랜 자들을 떠나 마침내 우리가 수놓은 벽방 꿈을 꾸던 눈을 감아 지그시 숨을 참아 숨을 추는 사람들의 걸음은 곡선으로 흘러가는 걸 붙잡을 수는 없대도 We still love and hate this city, yeah.
That's where my emotions are right now.
Sucked up into a vacuum.
Sucked up into the vacuum that is called Indigo.
I know. It does. I mean, it does. It seems very much...
This one, again, and...
It's muted again. It makes me feel very muted emotionally. I don't know how that makes sense, but...
And we know, again, that this entire album is a self-reflection and a communication of the process that he has been going through at his current, where he has been going through his 20s and there's this spot in his life. But this one, again, felt very much so, aside from the reflection of himself and his days being so hectic and not having that reason, that romance and that motivation or purpose behind things anymore, relates back to everybody else out here, like the people who are just going through work kind of mindlessly and missing their purpose and missing when they enjoyed the things that they wanted to do or just on all aspects. I mean, it doesn't just have to be work, school. I mean, anything. Just feeling
motivated, or they don't feel the motivation for it anymore.
Like when you sit down at the end of the day and you just sit there and go, man, like today it was hectic. It was just a mess. Like I miss doing things that I want to do, or I miss feeling the love for the things that I used to like. And so,
this seems like it's been like that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just like a one day deal, unfortunately.
Right. Okay.
I think the next one was supposed to be Wildflower.
The next one was going to be Wildflower. After Hectic was Wildflower, and then it was number 2.
Yeah. So we have listened to Wildflower. Like we said, we'll link it down, or you can find it in our playlist.
Check that out. So we are now at the last one in the album. We have made it to the end of Indigo. Stick around to the end because there are a few things I want to say, and I'm sure that Tori wants to say as well to kind of wrap some things up. But we're going to go ahead and get into number 2.
Like the pencil?
Yes, you have to write.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All the trials too. Don't look back. Sorry, don't look back now. You just protect yourself now after all these waves that have come through. Don't look back at this point.
You know how much you've been through.
This
so
sounds
now
like
you know that you've got to protect yourself and keep moving forward.
This is like an end of something. Don't look back anymore. Go forward. Don't look back anymore.
It's mixed, good and negative.
Her voice is gorgeous. Mm-hmm.
His vocals.
It's comforting.
That I ain't gotta prove myself that I ain't the one that I ain't the shit 그저 희정이 고프던 어린 아이 이젠 노비정이 더 차려올릴 말 나도 가득 차 터져버린 나의 풍선.
He's very much talking about himself again. Oh no. Okay.
See,
so
I feel like you could take this either when he said like you could let me go back to that line.
Where he said he ain't nothing.
Or you're not that special. Now, I don't know if he's meaning it in a way that's like self-deprecating of like you're not special,
or like ego-wise, like you aren't.
Or you're not the only one who's going through this. Like you've now realized like you're not special in the fact that this happens to everyone. Don't cry at this anymore. Like you can take these feelings and move forward.
He also does a really good job of like not having like a big ego when it comes to things too. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, you know, you're not above these people just because humble. You have this platform. You know what I'm saying? So I hope it's not in a self-deprecating way, like you said. But like I do very much think that they're talking to themselves. And
yes, I want to keep listening because I want to fully be able to tell. But that I was like, oh, he's telling himself he's not special. But then I thought about it like, well, maybe he's saying like you're not the only one. You're not unique in feeling that way because it does happen.
Smile that I hate, gotta prove myself that I hate the one, that I hate the shit.
I'm not the only one. A balloon again. Fucking wallflower.
여태껏 배운 건 겨우 한 가지 I'll be forever me 필연이라 믿었던 그 모든 사고 영겁처럼 길었던 그 모든 밤도 최선을 넌 다할 뿐이야 그대여더는 뒤돌아보지마 그 많은 파도 다 지난 뒤
All the trials that you've gone through.
Ooh. You can't avoid those things, but you can protect yourself.
This is my favorite. I like this one that you sing together.
I love that line.
I know.
Oh, and there's almost no
shift it back.
It's
almost like he's trying to tell himself too. I did so well at the most of this album. I was supposed to get teary-eyed at the very last song.
I mean, it felt very much like the ending of the album.
Yeah, it did. It was perfect the way he put this together.
The acceptance of the process that he has gone through, and the acceptance that, you know, even though that there are things that you cannot change and there are issues that you are going to have,
like you said, I think you're not the only one.
You're not the only one.
It's a relief to realize.
It is like when he said, like, I smile the fact that I don't have to prove myself anymore, because other people have gone through this, and I've also accepted the place that I'm at. I don't have to try and prove anything to even myself. But it just felt very very much of an acceptance and a step forward, because this entire album was full of a lot of very heavy emotions. It was full of loneliness, desperation, anger,
disconnect,
feeling lost.
Lack of motivation.
Mm-hmm. And this one to me felt very like peaceful, accepted, very calm.
So painful though.
It's still
it's the harsh truth. He also mentioned again that he is who he is, just like he said in the beginning of the album, that he just wants to be human.
Well, and then there was the line with the balloon that filled up with myself, and then it exploded, and then I'm left with like emptiness of not knowing who I am and not knowing where to go from here on out, and then realizing like, oh, I am just left with myself, and that is a good thing.
And like I said, he mentioned the balloon and trying to grasp the balloon in Wildflower as well, so I do remember that lyric.
Oh, okay.
So do you think, now I don't know because I don't know if the original title is number 2 or if it is in Hangul and it's just the translated English version, or number 2 instead. I was wondering if the track name meant he's not number 1. He's not 1. He is.
Okay. Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
That kind of like that humble side of like,
I don't, that's just kind of what I got from it. If that's the actual, like the translation is not just a weird English, like, you know what I mean? I haven't looked at the full album to see if that's how it's actually titled on his album.
My thought was like number 2 of, like this whole like first half was my first step in the journey. And now I'm moving towards journey number 2.
Maybe.
I'm ready for my next step and my next journey through this acceptance.
The last line. I mean, it's almost like he was chanting to himself and telling himself that, because he did a lot of looking back in this album.
Well, and that's with repetition in music like that, it's very much to get your point across and to make it very emphatic of like, no looking back, no looking back. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it, until you finally kind of just, the very last note felt very like, okay, no more.
But it was like he said he wanted to be. It was very harsh. The lyrics in here were very raw.
Well, overall, this album was just very, very heartbreakingly beautiful. We've said several times, but I mean, I don't really know another way to put it. The fact that you can be so raw about your pain and your hardships and still do it in a way that other people now have something to lean on for support and realize that they are not alone in their feelings.
I hope that putting this album together and him writing these lyrics, I hope that it helped him in his journey as well, and in healing too.
I hope this was a healing process for him. Like, I know it's going to be now for many other people. I know a lot of people are now going to use this as a healing process. So I do wonder how much of this was healing for him to work through those journeys and work through those feelings. I do want to there's one thing I really wanted to mention, how his mixtape Mono is singular color, very black and white, monochromatic. And then with this one, there's Indigo, which is a very calm color, but it is color.
It's kind of not, I want to say depressing, but it's a blue.
It is a shade of blue.
And that usually is a little bit of a sadder color, I would say, not a cooler
like faded
color.
jean kind of.
Yeah. No, I just meant like in general, it's more of a sad, like, I guess you could call it sad, but like a cooler color. It's not like a happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I kind of want to mention.
What a mellow color.
Yeah. How it kind of just juxtaposes with Mono and the whole black and white that was going on to now, at least, there's some color coming back. It is a more muted, a bluer color in terms of emotion as well. But and like I said several times, this very much felt like an album or songs for so many different people on so many different journeys. The people who have been in a crowd and felt alone, or the people who have a hard time getting out of bed some days. I've been there myself several times, and just this change, it very much feels like a nod to a lot of people who I feel like really deserve to know that they're not alone in their feelings.
Life is scary. And change is scary.
I hope that he sees how this was received and realized, like, wow, people really do feel that way and do understand how I've been feeling.
I hope so.
Sending all of the love and support. And this was an incredible album. Just a work of art, which isn't surprising for Namjoon and his love of work of art. So that was our reaction to this album. This was a whole journey, a whole emotional journey.
I do feel like you said, though, there was a beginning and an end, and a hopeful beginning to a next journey.
So thank you guys. If you have made it to the end of this video, sitting through this album was a lot of emotions, a lot of processes, a lot of thoughts. So thank you for sitting through that with us. We really appreciate that. We hope that you are feeling heard and safe and loved. And we will see you in our next video. Bye.
Bye.